Okay, I'm doing it.
Do it.
So they'll find a new live on YouTube.
So I'm going to
Let me be speaking, because otherwise it will come to you. Hey folks. Okay, so we are over here in a different place to where I don't know what, there's obviously some kind of bug in our Zoom that does not want us to broadcast. This one linked us to next week's Zoom, for example. So I don't know what's going on there. We will dig into it and find some more details as to what's going on. I promise you next week it's going to work. Okay, so
well done. You found us.
Yeah, there's
two places at the same time. Now I was chatting with some students who were on the other link, so hopefully they've managed to come over.
I don't know what it is. I'm a biology teacher, not a tech person. I pretty much understand most of the tech, but there's some gremlins in this system that I definitely don't get. Quite why it linked to next week's live stream and not this week's live stream, despite all the settings pointing to this week. Who knows? Okay, so let's go through what we're doing this week. The main topic for this check-in is going to be, we've been getting loads of questions, and it's a continuous massive problem, I would say, in the A-level. Now that it's linear, you have all the AS year in the year 12 and then all the year 13 stuff covering the A-level, and students frequently are not recapping or not integrating their AS revision in year 13. So we are developing a system to help year 13s to keep your AS content knowledge up to date. So join us at 7 o'clock in our Zoom room, and we'll show you how to sign up as one of our subscribers to, we're going to be doing dedicated sessions at 7 to 8 o'clock on a Monday for year 13 students to recap and revise effectively their AS content with a method that we're developing and designing to work with you guys. So it should be really concise, very short, very easy to implement, and it should be very effective at working on the things that you most need to work on. So we'll run you through all of that. We'll also tell you what's going on in our live classes. I suppose whilst I'm talking, I will do that. I'm just going to jump in and sort of show you. In fact, Rich isn't joining us today, Chemistry Rich, so I'll go through the Chemistry Live class just quickly to show you what's going on inside there this week. So this is within the chemistry course. This is all live classes page. You've got the recordings of any previous recording here. This week, the year AS content is titrations, and this is where you get your PDF of all the questions and the handout that you need. And this week it's the Arrhenius equation, so you can register for the Zoom. Again, with the registering for our live classes, just register for them now. We're going to update the registration links for the next couple of weeks. In fact, we'll do that probably in the next 24, 48 hours, so you'll register for next week's class as well. Again, PDF is a different one for this live class, so you can basically, if you're a chemistry student, get registered in those and then come across to those. In the biology land, my domain, this week, week number 4, is lipids and membranes. So again, you register, and the PDF of the questions I'm going to be going through. I've been responding to all your feedback about basically stripping down the questions so there's fewer but harder and more application questions in my handout. So that's what you're getting. And then you've got responding to the environment. So we've obviously got reflexes and tropisms and all the kind of how things respond to their environment to keep themselves in a favorable environment so they can get food or avoid predators, all that kind of stuff. Again, register here, PDF. If you are a year 13 student, you want to come to the AS class, you only need to register once. It's the same class. You don't need to register twice. So that's what I'm doing. Ronnie, what are you doing in your live classes this week?
It is mechanics week in Maths World. In maths we've got the pure, and then we've got the mechanics and the stats, and the pure is worth 2/3 of the marks, and the mechanics and the stats between them is 1/3, so just 1/6 each. So in a way, it's not a huge topic, the whole of mechanics, but on the other hand, it is a good source of marks, and it is the sort of thing that does take a while to get used to. It can be the sort of thing where people just feel completely overwhelmed by all of mechanics, especially students who don't do physics. So this week in the AS, we're looking at Suvat equations. So that's any problem at all with constant acceleration. So the acceleration is not changing when time moves on. So that means that the way that the velocity changes is constant. Every second the velocity changes in the same way, which allows us to predict the motion of the particle very easily. Basically, the most complicated the equations get is a quadratic. In the second year, we're going to be looking at friction. So friction is a relatively simple concept because everybody knows what friction is. But when you're drawing your force diagrams, the most important thing is understanding which way the friction is going to go. And if you're combining that with something on a slope, then obviously you've got all of your resolving forces coming in as well. But as soon as you click with friction, which way to model the friction is going, everyone knows it opposes motion, but that doesn't really help when you're actually in a particular situation and you're drawing that force acceleration problem diagram. And then you have to think, which way am I going to model the friction? Because if it goes the wrong way, then your equations are all wrong and everything is going to be disaster. So yeah, mechanics week, but also as always in the lessons, we're going back over everything we've already done, particularly the important bits. So for first years, that's trig equations. Can you actually reliably solve trig equations on a particular interval? And for second years, it's, of course, chain rule, integration, bit of differentiation, integration using the chain rule. So we always do a bit of spiraling over those core techniques to build them up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Good, it's going to be a good maths lesson.
I always used to find physics. I used to teach physics GCSE, and in fact, my students said they used to quite like it because I didn't really, it wasn't that naturally intuitive to me. I kind of had to figure it out almost every time fresh in my own head. And as a result, I think my students really liked it because they felt like they were working through the problems with me, but it definitely didn't make intuitive sense to me all the time. It never got to the point where it was just like, oh, this absolutely just makes sense. Okay, so there was a quick question there about the biology cheat sheets for biology. Well, biology are on the past paper library page within the Academy, so you'll find all of them there. We're actually looking at sort of gathering all of our documents that we've produced and putting them in a slightly more convenient to find location for you. There's sort of it's a work in process, really. Have I taught physics A level? No, Ronnie is studying a bit of physics A level in brackets just for fun. No, I never.
Genuinely fun.
Yeah, I can understand.
I didn't do physics A level, but when I got to university and did maths, I preferred the type of maths that comes from physics. So when I was at university, I sort of skipped the A level and then went into the mathematical physics. So I've gone back and yeah, I've done the AS, I did the exams. And I also just think it's good for teachers to be a student again, because when you're a student, I think teachers often forget it's really hard to motivate yourself to do work. It's really hard to use past papers effectively. It's really hard to improve your time management. All these things are really difficult. And I think teachers sort of make these announcements to students, like, why don't you just organize your week and do the homework at a sensible time? And actually, that's really difficult. And actually studying is really difficult. And if teachers go back and learn something and actually enter for the exam and actually sit in an exam hall and do the actual exam, I think it makes us much, much better teachers, because it really brings you back to the experience, the real experience of being a student. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I screwed up the first paper. Well, I didn't screw it up. I mean, I got all the marks, but I screwed it up in the sense that my timing was all over the place, despite the fact that I really thought that I had practiced enough past papers and got my timing sorted, and I hadn't. So that's really helped me to, when I'm working with students, to understand that how much you need to practice that time management in exam situations in order to not succumb to the pressure in the real thing.
Awesome. I don't know, there's all sorts of glitches going on right now, Ronnie, for most of that, despite the fact you were talking, that Zoom didn't pick up your microphone. I don't know, could people hear Ronnie during that? It certainly didn't switch cameras as it's supposed to. It now appears to be doing its normal thing.
The microphone is on, so.
No, it's fine. Well, we'll keep, I don't know, for most of that, it was just not picking up your, well, if it wasn't picking up your microphone, it was just showing me, like, answering comments and whatnot. All sorts of technical issues. My lighting's also pretty crazy today. Okay, so people asking about the cheat sheets. They're in the past paper library. Log into the course. You'll see the past paper library section. It's right near the top there. You'll see the biology cheat sheets as downloads on that page. Okay, so let's go through what we're doing at 7 o'clock. Ronnie, do you want to give just a description of
Yeah.
what we're going to be doing?
Yes, actually, I'm going to say two things. One of them is about the cheat sheets. We talked about this last week, but it is worth reminding everybody all the time that notes are just a collection of facts, and there is no correlation between what's in your folder and what's in your brain necessarily. You could have an amazing folder and not much in here. And an example of that is where you print out cheat sheets or you copy up the sections from the book, and then it's in a folder, but you haven't engaged with it in any way. You haven't interacted with those notes, with that information, in order to get it into your brain in the way that you can then pull back out again to answer a question. So the cheat sheets that we've made, they've got quite a lot of blank space around them on the page, and that's deliberate because we want you to be engaging with that sheet of paper. It's got all the information you need, concise, which is really useful, but to get that into your head, you need to just, it doesn't even need to be anything specific, just engage with the piece of paper. So it could be literally just referring to it whenever you're doing homework to get the information, or it could be that you annotate on the top of it. It could be that just that you use colored pens and you go around and you sort of box off things and get your brain to create a sort of landscape of those notes. But make sure that whenever you do use either our cheat sheets or some notes from a textbook, that you try to make them something that is interacting with you and that is alive in a sense when you're going through your study. Otherwise they're kind of pointless. That's first thing. Second thing is about AS revision for second years. So second years have got quite a lot on their plate. You've already done second years 3/4, 75%, bit more actually, of the time that you have from starting year 12 to your final exams. You've had 3/4 of it, bit more. So you are now kind of starting to feel that pressure maybe of finishing the course, doing all these difficult things, but also revising all the AS. So we're taking the pressure off the second one and the first one, but specifically today, the second one. So second years, TT second years coming together at 7 till 8 o'clock. And we tell you exactly what to do. And if you just turn up each week and just do that hour with us, then by the time we get to March, the AS is going to be fine and you're going to be all right with the AS. So yeah, it's quite good. We're getting more and more people coming each week, which is really exciting. And it shows that people are finding it useful and finding that it's effective revision. So yeah, I'm not going to go into loads of detail about what we actually do in the hour, because otherwise I'll be repeating myself to the students that are there. But essentially it's about isolating this 1 hour a week when we support you to go back over all that AS stuff for whichever subject you want to work on.
I'll take over there so your crazy cat doesn't make too many more crazy noises. It's Halloween. It does sound like there's some kind of poltergeist in your house.
Yeah, it does. It is actually, I think it is the cat, but it's a very old house. It's 200 years old, so it may well be a poltergeist.
Okay, so yeah, basically join us in those sessions. If you are one of our subscribers, log into the Academy. You'll get a little pop up there. We'll be there at 7 o'clock. And so 7 o'clock on Mondays, you can join us. And we will basically, yeah, if you do that 1 hour each week, we're going to sort of take control or take care of you doing your AS revision in a really effective and structured method that's going to actually really help you prepare for the exams and teach you some really useful skills about identifying your weaknesses, which is basically what it all comes to be about. Once you've covered topics, why don't you get full marks on them when you do exam questions on them? Why is it that you don't get 100% once you've finished studying a topic? Why don't you get 100% on it? Now, that could be for many reasons. We're going to help you identify what they are and improve them so that you make fewer mistakes and get more marks. And yeah, join us at 7 with the link in the course. Okay, so we've also got our competition winners that were chosen at random from the people who entered from our live last week. Rich has the Facebook one. Everyone will be contacted via their profile, obviously their social profile as well. Rich Warburton is not with us today. He's got some other stuff going on, and he has the Facebook winner. But Twitter was everyone, but sadly not everyone who entered. Is every_1_ is the handle. I'm looking at the wrong page here. I've got the stream feed of everyone here. And Instagram was, I don't know, Luke Arm or Luke Arm _1. Oh no, Lucan1 is the one for Instagram. Again, we will contact you. Lucan tagged us in loads of photos, lots of different people, with lots of different schoolmates, lots of different interactions going on there. So good job to you two. As I said, Facebook will contact you via the your Facebook account once Rich has given me the winner, because he told me the 2, but not the 1. Okay, so we've done 25 minutes. Any general questions out there?
Yeah,
7 o'clock.
I have never I don't know anything about biology, but when you guys ask questions in TT, they all go to the same place, and then we look for our ones. So I scroll through and look for the maths ones, and so I see these words, these biology words, and this is a word that I've never seen there. But T-Boy is saying, can you tell me a quick overview of alderstone?
Alderstone, it could be a chemistry thing. Alderstone is not an A level.
No, I don't recognize that word. Is it a chemistry thing? Rich, is it okay if I invite somebody into the revision hour that isn't technically a TT student just this week?
How are they going to get in there? Yes, that's fine.
Give them the Zoom link.
It's a steroid hormone. Oh, aldosterone.
Oh, did I read it wrong? Sorry.
No, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's a hormone. There's, in what spec do you do? There's not any specific factual recall of that in the course. I'm just trying to think. OCR students need to know a little bit about the basically adrenal glands and the production of adrenaline in terms of a stress hormone and stuff like that. But in terms of aldosterone, there's no factual recall required. I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, it would be way more familiar to me than that. Okay. Yeah, no, anyone, if you just deem it necessary, Ronnie, they're welcome to join us for this week.
Well, I just think I would like to help out Rasib. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because earlier there was a message like, I am 0% ready, my folder is not organized, and what we've been doing. So I'd really like just to have that hour with you, just to show you how easy effective revision can be when you know what you're meant to do. So yeah, I'll get the link for you. Give me a sec. I know where it is. I was just, that was my brain trying to work to see where the link is.
Okay, fab. Well, we'll see you all at 7 o'clock, and I'm sure Raseb has got an account with us. So if you log in, Raseb, you'll see the pop up there. So you can always get the link from within.
Oh, really? Oh, in that case, it's in there. Yeah, it's
I'm positive. Raseb, do you have an account with us? I'm sure you've been in my live classes.
Rich, it won't, as usual. I think if this is just me, it won't let me post a link into the chat. So I'll tell you what I will do is I'm gonna speak out loud the beginning bit. Oh, if you've got a TT account, all you need to do is go in and then go to the live classes, the recordings and registration, and it's right at the top. There's a link right at the top of that page underneath the buttons. For those of you who don't have a TT account for this week, you are welcome to join us. I'm going to have to speak the beginning of the URL, and then I've sent you the code.
You can send it to me, Ronnie. I might be able to share it. I don't know what's.
Well, it's https://zoom.us/j/ and then that number. zoom.us/j/ and then the number.
I think that's going to be difficult for people to follow.
Well, I can't put it in, and I've tried doing all spaces and making it not know it's a URL, and it still just says you're not allowed to post a URL. Yeah, why can't I do that?
I have no idea.
It just says no to me. I'm not important enough. Okay.
But yeah, you said you entered on Facebook the competition, but you don't have a Facebook account. How do you know if you're the winner? Rich is going to do the Facebook winner. So I've got the thread stream up here. I basically will just have to I'll have a look through. If you've been mentioned, do you have an account with us? We will be able to find you, I'm sure. Hadia, if you have a Taylor Tutors account with us, then send us an email and let us know that your Taylor Tutors account email, and then we can contact you there if you're a winner. That would be the best thing to do.
Sorry, this is in answer to a question. How are we supposed to be 75% ready? You're not 75% ready. You are 75% of the way through. So in terms of the actual time from like September of year 12 to your actual exams, you're here. But in terms of content, you probably haven't gone through 3/4 of it, and you want to push this barrier back at the end so that you've got more time for revision. So it is important to be aware of that, and to not, I think sometimes in college it can feel like, oh, everything's fine, we're taking along, we're doing a new topic each week, and then the shock doesn't come until sort of after Easter holidays, when suddenly the exam is round the corner, it's 4 weeks away, and you've only just finished the content, and it's like minimal pressure, and then bang. So I'm not saying that 75% to kind of make you scared, but to make you realize that now is the time to start your AS revision for sure. And also it is the time to just think about where you are in the content, and maybe talk to your teachers, ask them, for our scheme of work, when are we going to finish? What's your plan for the week that we're going to finish? Because if you look at that and think, do you know what? I don't want to finish 4 weeks before my exams. I want to finish 10 weeks before my exams so that I've got loads of time for revision. Then you can start to take that responsibility and say, okay, can you tell me which topics you're going to be teaching in that final few weeks? And then you teach yourself those topics, or you get us to help you with those topics. So it's about sort of owning now the process of the next 30 weeks or however long it is until those exams. I think it's less than that now, and sort of using the resources that you've got to line yourself up for the grade that you want, that you need, that you deserve.
Okay, so just a comment there is you have no idea how to finish soon and that you feel too burdened with work. I'd say speak with your teachers, find out their plan for when they plan to finish things with you. Maybe they're going to super organized and everything's kind of in hand and you're going to finish at the right times, and that's great. Maybe they're going to finish really late in the year, so you want to be using, at that point, how would you study it independently? You can use our courses. There's obviously other textbooks and things like that if you don't have our subscription. So basically taking accountability for completing the AO1 content, the learning phase content of the spec before the Easter holidays. So that way, if that's not your teacher's plan, then they basically have got a bad plan for you, and you should make sure that you do have a better plan than the one that your teacher has for you. So it's all about breaking it down and making it into like small chunks. So whether that's doing one lesson a week from our academy that's getting ahead of schedule at your school or college so that you're going to finish a bit earlier, and one lesson a week that's covering AS content, or joining our AS revision hour at 7 o'clock on Mondays, that is all going to help you so that when you get to crunch time, you prevent this implosion. Is like, oh my God. And if you're feeling that way now, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to get a huge amount easier between now and the exam. You're going to get to, when you're at the March, April phase, you're going to think, oh, now I'm supposed to know everything. It's kind of how you should be at that point, is I'm supposed to know. And that's how you feel. And if you don't, then you end up in panic and fluster mode. It's like, well, I've got to do this. I don't have enough time to do it all. So which bits am I going to do? And it just builds up into this chaos puddle of revision mess. So by starting now, you can, yes, I'm sure it feels overwhelming, but just doing a little bit now, you only have to do a little bit at a time, and you do a little bit to get ahead and a little bit to recap AS, and then you're going to be sweet when you get that point. If you get to May and you've just finished the year 13 content, you've not revised any AS content, you are going to find a hugely stressful month ahead of you. So we're just trying to help you prepare for that. And I'm sure it will seem a little bit overwhelming, but that's why you should join us in our sessions, because we're going to guide you through it and coach you through it so that you don't end up with a massive pile of chaos in May, basically.
A couple of things to remember as well. One of them is that 20% is better than no percent. So often what happens when we've got a big task in front of us is that the task seems so big, like organize my AS folder, or even organize the notes from this half term, or start my AS revision, or plan. It seems it's so huge that it's overwhelming and we start procrastinating because it's too scary to look at. And actually, what we need to remember is not to be a perfectionist about this, not to think, well, either I'm going to completely solve this problem and deal with this task, that's option one, or option two, I'm not going to do anything. And there actually is a middle ground, or even just like just to hear. And this links to my other bit of advice that I often say to students, and I use it myself all the time, which is the 2-minute rule. If you don't want to do something, if you're thinking it's on my list, it's playing in my mind, but I don't want to do it at the moment, so then say to yourself, okay, I will do it for 2 minutes and then I'm allowed to stop. That's the rule. And if I stop after 2 minutes, which I'm allowed to do, then no guilt for the rest of the day. I don't have to feel guilty for not doing it, because that starting block of actually, that hurdle of actually starting it, usually it's just fine. It turns out our brain was going on about nothing, and actually it's not that bad. And actually I do it with emails. I hate opening the email because I just don't like email. And I will do something else. I will answer student questions. I will sort of like send students messages. How are you getting on with that thing from last week? I'll do some crochet. I will go and load the dishwasher. And if I do that 2-minute rule, set a timer literally on your phone, 2 minutes. I will do it for 2 minutes, then I'm allowed to stop. I never do it for 2 minutes. I always finish it. So it's those two things. Don't be a perfectionist. A tiny, tiny, tiny bit is actually really good. It doesn't need to be everything. And the other thing, set a timer for 2 minutes, do it for 2 minutes, then forget about it. But you won't, you'll keep going. I need to go and plan.
Yeah, we need to basically go get our ready for our 7 o'clock session. So recap for A-level chemistry live classes this week on chemistry is on Wednesday, titrations and Arrhenius equation. Tuesday is maths, Ronnie. We're doing your mechanics-y stuff. Mechanics. And for me, I'm doing lipids and membranes and responding to the environment. And join us in 20 minutes or so. If you're a year 13 student, the link is inside our academy. It will pop up for you when you log in to join us there. And we will be coaching you through how to revise your AS content in a sensible, structured, and effective way. Thanks all for joining us, folks. We will get our technology problems figured out for next week. I'm going to sort my lighting and my camera out as well, because it's bugging me how this 4K camera is showing up super grainy on YouTube, and I don't know why. See you next week.